explain to me in this class how one puller comes out like Danny and look like he's going to be the only one to be there, and then all of a sudden back-to-back full pulls. Do you guys learn something that you put to use later?
Every time somebody makes a pass, you can always, if you watch him, you can learn something from his pass about his balance, or see how his tires working, how he comes out of the hole. Just a lot of little details like that you have to keep an eye on. And then, you know, you got to make your own decisions where you want to go down the track. But every time somebody makes a pass, you learn something from it.
Ernie Connor's bad medicine. Army, all his weight is in the back, in front of the back wheel.
Yeah, Ernie had all his weight right in front of the rear axle. Now look at the next vehicle that comes out. Russell comes out, no weight in front of the rear axle, in front of the rear tires. Everybody's got their own theory as to what works.
This is Rob Russell, who provided you some thrills in Memphis last year.
Yeah, and they weren't cheap thrills either. We were standing on the end of the track when he had one of the most violent explosions I've ever seen in my life. We use the expression of like sitting on a bomb. That's exactly what happened. The engine actually came out, went like 35 or 40 feet in front of the vehicle. Just a huge explosion at the 290-foot mark last year. Not going to be the case today in Bowling Green.
The engine's fine, the weight's wrong. Rob Russell, a little bit short.
This get word 299, but usually you got to buy a ticket if you're going to take a ride like that. What happened up there?
I just missed out on my weight. Last night we ran this sled and I couldn't get hooked up too good, and so I took a weight back. Track was a little bit better than I thought it would be. And I really hooked up hard, and it was just a mistake on my fault.
Best show of the day, if that counts for anything.
Well, I was glad for that much anyway.
Once again, very obvious how much he was off on the weight, Army.
Well, you know, he was off on the weight, but everybody wearing red and the backs of that particular brand of tractor, they're awful proud of him. I can't get over how proud these people are of their particular brand of product. It's amazing, isn't it, Scott?
Yeah, and the John Deere people are standing now. Our final competitor will be Ronnie Goodrich from Wakefield, Virginia. This is Super John, the John Deere. He's trying to join 3 others in a pull-off.
Left hand goes on the steering wheel. Right hand's on the throttle. You can see him pumping the brake, trying to get a John Deere in a pull-off. What's going to happen? Now watch the rear tires. The wrinkle will come in. It'll look like they work back and forth. The horsepower's there. The black smoke tells you that. Will Super John be in a pull-off?
Yes, he's going to make it 4 in the pull-off. When we come back to Bowling Green, Ohio a little later, this guy is going to be pulling off for a victory. Super John and Ronnie Goodrich out of Wakefield, Virginia. But after this break, we're going to be taking you back to Flint, Michigan, the TNT Monster Trucks, and Rod's return. This is the Major League of Monster Truck Racing, the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Kris Chapman in Flint, Michigan with a look at that first round.
It appears that John Kwasniewski and the Buffalo Trimmer are by no means a fluke as he knocks off a very powerful Scott Stevens in the King Crunch here during first-round competition. That places them on into the quarterfinals. Also, Dennis Anderson and the Gravedigger, well, they seem to have gotten their act together as he's modified his driving style to fit the truck, and he, for the first time in as long as I can remember, advances into quarterfinals. Here's how the rest of the field lines up.
It'll be Rod Litzow in USA 1 after his bye run, coming out against Nightlife and Dave Wysork. A good matchup of Chevrolets in the quarterfinals. Then Clydesdale, after dispatching no problem, will take on the national points leader, David Morris's Equalizer, in another Chevrolet matchup. Then we'll move down to see Carolina Crusher coming back against the Dodge of Mopar Magic as Gary Porter tries to pick up precious points on the Equalizer. And to round out the quarterfinals, how do you like this matchup? Last week's winner, the Buffalo Trimmer, against a rejuvenated Gravedigger. Dennis Anderson says no breakage tonight, and so far, he's telling us the truth.
Scott, I tell you one thing that's going on in Flint, Michigan. There's a bad wind blowing. You've seen it all night long. It almost seems to be eerie as these trucks back up. You can see the flags waving on the back of the USA 1. There's just something strange going on right now.
We asked Rod Litzow if he's been satisfied with his performance in '89.
Oh, no, not satisfied with it. You know, we did have some bad luck. You know, that's where I do like to run. I like running outside, but, you know, we brought last year's truck into this season, and everybody else brought their new ones in. You know, we didn't have our new one ready. Now it's going to be ready for '89, and then there'll be a whole new game out there. But, you know, we did bring last year's truck out, and we played with it, and we had some bad luck playing with it. But, you know, I don't like running indoor. The trucks are getting fast, but we'll do what we can do out here. We do our best.
But as Rod knows, one of the neat things in this sport is you run indoor, you run outdoor, and Rod has looked awfully good outdoors. Here he is again. Litzow wins it. Look out, he's gone over again. Rod Litzow has flipped it several times, and now Army is taken off down there, and several other track officials are headed down to USA 1. A terrible flip as Rod spun and hit the asphalt several times. Several people getting him out. Litzow looks a little bit shaky right now as Army has him and a couple of other drivers. There's Mike Wine, Marvin Smith, there's Everett Jasmer, the team owner, and as you can see, a great deal of concern here in Flint, Michigan. The damage telling the story on Rod Litzow's USA 1 as he took a tremendous ride. Litzow has flipped this thing on several occasions, but I don't know if he's ever flipped it any more violently than that. Well, right now, I think people are just trying to talk to Rod and make sure he's all right. And there's Alan Goss, who heads the competition end for TNT. And I think he's calling for, he's either calling for an ambulance or some other help. Yeah, I believe they're calling for an ambulance, and now the loader will pull USA 1 back up and over.
Yeah, Scott, what's happening down here? The EMTs have just been asked to come over. That was a very violent flip. It was a sprint car type flip. It was a snap roll. And he's in the hurt right now. Believe me, he's having a whole lot of trouble standing up. The drivers are down here. We'll get back to you.
Army, everybody's got him under control there. Now they're going to take Rod and put him in the ambulance. And I guess the question is, as we watch the flip again, what was Rod saying? What was it like when you got to it?
Well, when I went over to him, he had already unbuckled. He was trying to stand up. The truck was laying on its side. But I believe he was in the shock because his knees, you can see his knees starting to go away from him. I just reached in and said, grab a hold of my neck, I'll pull you out of here. That's exactly what he did. When we did get him on his feet, he was real heavy. He was really spooky. This kid is lucky after that one.
What a violent flip. And the USA 1 truck had to sustain some damage. Army's now working his way over to get with Everett Jasmer, the truck's owner.
Everett Jasmer, first things first. Is the driver okay?
Rod's okay. He's just shook up. No physical damage.
What about the truck? It looks like 89 just went down the tubes for you.
Looks like we're making a real hard charge for the end of the season here, and it really looks bad right now. I mean, that's not to say we won't be back next week, but it doesn't look real good.
What goes through your mind as an owner, Everett? I know you put your heart and soul in this. You've worked so hard to get up to be that #1 truck, and then it's almost like you had a monkey on your back all year long.
We've had a real bad one on our back. It's been a number of things. I've got a lot of complaints about the season, but all in all, we've just had a real tough season. We've got new trucks already near completion. I plan on coming back and taking the championship again next year. Looks like we probably won't make it this year.
You hear the fans roaring as they've been told that Rod's okay and is just going to be checked over in the ambulance. And the USA 1 truck obviously eliminated for the night. Army's back with us. Army, what a run.
Yeah, he nose over. You watch on the replay, it just came over. He throttles up on it, trying to pull it out. Not going to work. It ducked to the left. Now watch the flipping action here. The driver really gets snapped around inside the truck. Comes over, lands on his top. Now, I've got to say one thing about the TNT Rules Committee. They designed the roll cages in these trucks. That's a 12,000-pound truck, and the roll cage worked. That's what saved Rod Litzow. The roll cage, the seat, and all the driver protection. We're just tickled to death. He's okay, but that's what the sport is coming to. Each week, quicker, faster, as we see Rod now sitting in the ambulance getting a little bit of oxygen.
Let me say something else about that, too. No one is going to outbuild a roll cage or build a cage better than Everett Jasmer because he believes in the safety of these vehicles and to take care of his driver to make the fastest and safest truck possible. And that's why people like Everett are so critical to the success and the future of the sport.